All right, welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to absolutely challenge everything you think you know about Nāgārjuna's ultimate conclusions. Now, since you're tuning in, I know you already know your stuff. You've probably spent countless hours dissecting the 11 steps of Madhyamaka reasoning, unpacking the tetralemma, and really going deep into dependent origination. We're definitely not going to rehash all those basics today. Instead, we're zeroing in on the ultimate horizon of those teachings. We're focusing squarely on the true nature of Nirvāṇa and this limitless, centerless karmic flux that points us directly to suchness, to reality exactly as it is. Since you've already deeply studied the Mūlamadhyamakakārikā, I kind of have to playfully ask a very serious question. Did you accidentally turn emptiness into a brand new ultimate ground? Honestly, it's the single most common trap for advanced practitioners. We deconstruct all inherent existence, we dissolve the ego, we dismantle our conventional realities, and then, without even realizing it, we take the concept of emptiness itself and put it right up on a pedestal as the new absolute truth. Boom. Congratulations, we just swapped one golden calf for a completely invisible one. But as Nāgārjuna was incredibly clear about, emptiness itself is entirely empty.
And this brings us to the fatal flaw of the human intellect. We constantly mistake our brilliant philosophical concepts, our triads, our models, and our meticulously drawn maps for reality itself. We totally forget that we co-created these frameworks. We picked them, we reified them, we got super attached to them, and eventually we end up fighting over them. But Nirvāṇa, it's never about finding a superior concept, a better analogy, or some highly sophisticated theory. Those things are useful, for sure, but they're just like reflections or echoes. They're there, but not really there. They are never the actual territory.
Section 1. Burning the maps, transcending without rejecting. If we're going to burn our maps without just plunging into total darkness, we have to realize that Nirvāṇa requires moving way beyond extremes like objectivism or nihilism. But, and this is key, we still utilize valid, everyday tools and consensual truths. Nirvāṇa is absolutely not about rejecting thinking, feeling, moving, or talking. It's about transcending all that conditioned dualistic conceptual proliferation, what we call prapañca, without totally throwing away our adapted, skillful means. You don't have to reject conventional reality to be awake. You just have to stop believing it has absolute inherent existence. You transcend descriptions, space, and time, while still perfectly functioning right inside them.
Section 2. The non-dual river. Redefining samsara.
So what actually happens when we stop trying to force the limitless, centerless flow of reality into these neat little boxes? What happens when we finally quit trying to precisely label and order an ocean that flat out refuses to be contained? Well, Nirvāṇa is simply samsara viewed with a different pair of non-dual glasses. This brilliantly illustrates that Nirvāṇa isn't some magical escape from samsara. It's just ceasing the urge to freeze the river of existence into dualistic categories. This is a massive paradigm shift. You aren't fleeing to a pure alternate dimension. Nirvāṇa is ceasing to oppose, in absolute terms, self and other, subject and object, pure and impure. It's the profound realization that there is literally nothing to purify in absolute terms. You're transmuting ignorance into wisdom without grasping at the duality of those very words. There is a stark contrast between desperately trying to categorize reality and simply engaging with the beautiful, fluid web exactly as it is. On one side, you have the total exhaustion of reifying maps, imposing absolute boundaries, constantly defending dualities, and trying to freeze the river of life. And on the other side, suchness, tathata. It's experiencing reality as pointed to by the union of the two truths. It's directly perceiving everything as primordially equal, pure, and perfect in a non-dual sense. Not demanding it fit inside our tiny, rigid little boxes, but just fully embracing the flux. Section 3. Nirvāṇa in action. Embodying the truth. Look, philosophy without embodiment is literally just another map to get lost in. So Nirvāṇa in action means acting conventionally, but without effort, without attachment, and without apprehending anything in absolute terms. Acting without acting. You're still chopping wood and carrying water, so to speak. You're acting, but with zero reification. You act non-dualistically, totally aware of the true empty nature of your concepts, your models, your views. You act more and more in accord with the middle way, meaning you're entirely free from all extremes of this or non-this, and free from accepting or rejecting things as if they had ultimate substance. Nirvāṇa is literally embodying these unions in your day-to-day life.
the union of the two truths, uniting dependent origination and emptiness regarding all phenomena, the union of the three spheres of action, the union of opposites, bridging the individual, the collective, and the cosmic, and the union of the ground and manifestations. Ultimately, it's the realization of perfected compassion and wisdom. It's the absolute freedom to evolve beyond your actual physical, conceptual, and mental karma, simply because you're no longer bound by those dualistic conceptual proliferations.
Section 4. The limitless fractal flux, the dance of interdependence. This brings us to the core realization of this explainer, looking directly at the territory. It's an endless dance of creation, bondage, and awakening. In this indescribable, centerless flux, everything is conditioning absolutely everything else, and we are active participants in it. The entire universe is a centerless, fractal-like cycle of dependent origination. It's vibrant. It's a limitless display of interdependent phenomena shining without any inherent substance to anchor them. When you truly, deeply see this, you realize there is no ultimate goal and no final extinction of samsara. There's just this endless, breathtaking dance.
Nothing is discrete in space and time. It is a boundless, nonlinear web with absolutely zero inherent beginning or center. I mean, just think about that for a second. Nothing is well delimited, perfectly defined, rigidly categorized, or totally controlled. It's a limitless web of interconnected, empty, illusory phenomena, an ocean of conditioning flowing continuously without a single drop of inherent substance inside it.
Reality continually oscillates between poles, featuring empty relatas and completely empty actions. It's not many, it's not one, it's not both, and it's not neither. It's a completely centerless cycle of conditioning. The actions are empty, the relations between things are empty, the things themselves are empty. And yet, the oscillation, this beautiful loop of interdependence, just dances on.
But wait, actually, hold on. I want to explicitly warn you here, because it is absolutely vital you catch this. If you turn this limitless, centerless flux into your new absolute reality, you've fallen right back into the trap. Seriously, if you make this beautiful ocean of conditioning or this fractal dance your new absolute svabhava, your new inherent existence, you have completely missed the entire point of the Madhyamaka. The flux itself has no svabhava. It's just another concept. It's a very subtle map designed to help you loosen your grip on reality, not a new reality to cling to.
Section 5. Putting down the raft. The pass is the goal.
So, if there's no ultimate goal and no final extinction of samsara, what exactly is the point of the path, right? Why do we even study Nāgārjuna so rigorously? Well, the paradox of the spiritual path is beautifully simple. The Buddha never taught in absolute terms, which means we have to eventually drop the very tools we used to get here. Achieving nirvana means you use the raft, the rigorous logic, the meditation, the concepts of emptiness, to cross the turbulent river of samsara. But once you reach the other shore, you don't just carry a heavy wooden raft on your back as you walk around on dry land. You drop it. Nirvana is dropping the raft. Because there is no ultimate foundation, period. Not even the 12 links of dependent origination, emptiness, or the union of the two truths can serve as an ultimate ground. There is no ultimate foundation, and honestly, there is absolutely no need for one. Consciousness, the flux, any philosophical ground you can possibly name, none of it is an absolute anchor. Realizing this isn't terrifying. It is the ultimate liberation from the exhausting search for a permanent conceptual home.
We really have to realize that nirvana is putting down the burden. It's simply abiding in reality exactly as it is. Suchness, without superimposing any of our mental fabrications over it. It's putting down the heavy burden of needing reality to be something other than what it actually is. You just engage with the beautiful, fluid web. You realize there's no final, static awakening where the universe just powers down. The path itself is the goal, and awakening is a centerless fractal dance. It's your conscious participation in it. So, once in a while, we just have to put all these brilliant philosophical maps down, look directly at the territory of suchness, and ask ourselves this final question. Are you ready to put down the map? Are you ready to stop fighting over the coordinates and simply jump into the non-dual river? We can spend lifetimes perfecting our models of reality, but true freedom is found the exact moment we let them go and step into the boundless, centerless flux. Thank you for joining me on this explainer. Keep exploring, but remember to occasionally put down the map and just enjoy the territory.